I lost my pen. I was going to have my pen ready right when this started, and I couldn't find it.
It's right here.
It was on my table, and it's all black. Welcome to Art Jam, everybody. I had like a minor panic attack right when it was starting.
Yeah, it's like I have one pen if I lost that pen.
I have one, but you know, the classic like Wacom tablet being all black. It just like it hides in here somewhere in the dark.
Yeah. When did you discover that they hide nibs inside of the Wacom pen holder?
Oh, I actually learned that pretty early. It reminds me of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And then like inside, they're all right there.
Totally. That blew my mind when I learned
the first time you saw it.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, what?
They've been in there the whole time?
Although, even though I learned that, I don't know if I really tried out all the different nibs.
I've tried them, but I've never liked any of the other ones. I only like the one that I use all the time. And then I don't think I've ever really had to replace one. Have you ever had to replace one?
No.
Yeah, I think they've lasted like a really long time.
Aggressive as I guess some people are.
Yeah.
So, well, long ago, like I kind of like sort of scratched up the middle of my Cintiq, my first Cintiq. And so that kind of made me be like, oh, I'm being too hard on it. So as opposed to wearing down the nib, I was wearing down the screen.
The tablet. Or I guess a screen in that case. That's even worse.
Yeah, totally. So way worse because I didn't have a protector on it or anything. So it was just like, great, the middle of my screen is just like a little blurry looking because it was all like these fine little, scratch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever used the overlay for the restream chat window? I'm trying it now for the first time. There's a standalone desktop app for restream, and so if you launch that, you can you probably can't see it because I have it set to. See how I'm moving? Oh, you can't see my screen.
I can't see anything. I can put your screen on.
See what I'm moving?
Oh.
So if you download the restream standalone Windows app, then you can open it, set it to always on top, set the background to transparent, and then there it is. We haven't had any comments yet, so I don't know if it's working.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. By the way, we're just chatting about how to set up a stream.
So, because otherwise I have like the chat on another monitor, and then I kind of like don't always
Right.
remember where to look over there. So,
Oh yeah, totally. That's cool. I like that. I'll have
But,
to give that a try.
but it allows click through, so like I can still navigate even though where the chat window is.
Can you like click on it and type a message?
Yeah, you just have to hold down. Hey, Jay the Chew. Awesome.
There you go. Test.
See, a little
It worked.
comment just appeared right there. That's so cool.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
It's like we're just like learning things that everybody who streams are like, duh.
What's up, everybody?
Overlaid chat
Overlaid
is
chat
not a new
windows.
thing, but it's new to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, yeah, I saw that you worked on this over the weekend. It sounded like over the week you did a couple posts on it, which was cool.
yeah, after the stream last week where I was working on this dude, I kind of think I got to like here, like mostly just the head.
It wasn't that far along, though. I feel like you refined it.
Yeah, I refined it. And then I think there's actually, there's more estive levels. I'm only at 3. So yeah, I refined the head a little, and then started working on the body, but then realized like, why am I working on the whole body? I don't even know what the render is going to be. So then I brought him over to Maya and started playing with renders, and I think, and then ended up doing the couple renders that I posted. The one that's more abstract looking, I did like last Thursday, like the next morning, and then the one
black
that's
and white
more
one.
finished. Yeah, I did that. Finished that yesterday.
Gotcha. That's cool.
So,
Nice.
thank you.
I'm working on this dragon that I've been working on. I'm kind of stuck on it, so I'm just going to focus on this area and try to push the design as much as possible. I spend too much time focusing on like the anatomy, and I think sometimes when I do that, I just get like sucked into like a more technical part of working and not like a design part of working. So I'm going to keep working on this one today. This is kind of what I had done over previous streams, though, was just kind of get this worked out. I want to get into like a pose, and after this is done, I did end up putting a layer on it very quickly to just have as a pose.
Cool.
Just so I could kind of see what it might maybe look like in motion. But
So you're doing the wing membranes as they're completely separate, Geo?
I'm gonna try it. I just think it'd be really hard to make it a single piece, to make it like, realistically to deal with the poly count. Because this is already 6 million, and like if I zoom in here, like I can't even really make it's not ZRemeshed either really, but or retopped in any way, but I'm not gonna have any detail.
Yeah.
So another level up and I'd be at 24 million, which is possible, but even then that's not going to give me enough detail in here.
Yeah, my computer would not support that. You have to switch to HD. Do you ever use HD?
I have. I just don't love it. I feel like it's probably a thing where I need to like cut this off or cut off some elements and start finding ways to merge them in or to do something different.
Yeah. It slows the whole pipeline down to switch to HD, because then you have to deal with UDIMs and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
The Strawberry King says they're on their 4th nib since they started ZBrush a year ago. Your 4th nib? That's that's so impressive.
That's I'm surprised you're not scratching your tablet.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe like as soon as you see a scratch appear, you're switching to a nib? Or is the nib actually wearing down?
Sounds like he's saying it's wearing down.
That's crazy.
But I mean, it doesn't really matter on a regular tablet. I think it's a Cintiq where I kind of got, paranoid because I was making scratches.
Yeah, of course.
Regular tablet, I guess you can kind of abuse it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just a thing. But yeah, I'm going to be working on this. And we had 2 new streams this week, too. On Tuesday, I did my stream of Archetype and worked on a new project there. And then we had a Creature Corner yesterday. Well, I guess Tuesday was yesterday. So both of those streams were yesterday, which was the late night stream. And that was super fun and entertaining. Jared and Matt Millard.
Oh, man, those guys are awesome.
They're super funny, too.
I ended up watching Malignant, that movie they were talking about.
Oh, you did?
I watched it I watched half of it last night, the other half this morning. It's good.
What did you Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. The
weird.
creature is an interesting creature. I like it a lot.
Yeah, definitely, reminded me. I think Matt mentioned like basket case or,
Sure.
Klaatu or, but like he made some comment about, and we were chatting after and just like, the Matrix style third act. And I had no idea what he was talking about. And I watched the movie. I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about now. It's fucking weird. But yeah, it was super entertaining.
Yeah, I like it.
So I'm just like, I'm going to crawl into bed at midnight and put on a scary movie.
There you go. That's what fall is for, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Why not? That's awesome. Yeah, those streams went well. I had a good time on mine, and it was a fun time hanging with Matt and Jared and watching that. I definitely recommend anybody who's checking this out now to check out those.
Yeah. I mean, every Tuesday night for that one, which is awesome. So, and how did you feel about yours?
I felt good. It was an introduction of kind of to the overall structure and the project, and so I showed a little bit about how I'll be doing my project management and the references, and kind of, it's a bit of a longer game, I guess, what that stream is, meaning like it's a long form project or a couple long form projects. But yeah, it was good. I feel good about it. I'm excited about my project, my first character, the artist, so or the creator, depending on what your favorite one is, or what name to call them as. But yeah, I think it'll be a fun one. So this thing is bothering me quite a bit, but yeah, I'm happy about it. I'm excited about it. It was fun watching. I was behind the scenes with Jared and Matt, making sure the production was fine and there was no trolls in the chat or anything. But it was really fun to watch their dynamic and to get to hang out with them for a while.
Yeah, no, they had a lot of cool stories, and clearly those guys, I guess they worked for a while together, and so it's just awesome to have a pair of dudes that are so comfortable with each other. They were funny.
Totally.
Creepy moon boy.
When they told me before this stream, it was like, oh, what's your monster of the week? And they're like, oh, it's creepy moon boy. I just kind of bursted out laughing. I was like, what? What is that? Like, it's a creepy moon. I'm like, okay, cool. But they both had good ideas for it. It was pretty funny. It was nice that it was kind of nice that it wasn't just like, and Jared said this, but it wasn't just like Frankenstein. Like, it wasn't something that we already known. So just doing something different, which was kind of cool to see.
Yeah. No, I mean, they both banged something out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it was
Jared
cool.
was definitely creepy.
Yes. They also were doing this layout, which I kind of liked for two people working. It was probably like this, though.
Yeah, it made it easy to see.
Kind of interesting to be able to see what was working, so we can always play around with these today.
For sure.
So we get full screen experience. I'll put my head right where the Gnomon is. There we go.
There you go.
It's Malignant. Yeah, Malignant's a good one. I like that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had a really, really bizarre start. So, like, the beginning was just like, what is going on? And I was expecting a completely different movie because I thought the whole movie was going to be in that style where it just felt like very 80s retro. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we're just in a normal movie. But yeah, I haven't seen all the because I guess it's the dude who made The Conjuring. And I haven't seen all of the. I saw the first Conjuring when it came out, so it's been a while. I need to rewatch it. And then I know they've made a ton of follow-ups, and then they made I guess something called Annabelle, which I guess is like a spin-off of Conjuring. Anyway, so I'm behind the curve on those.
Behind the times on The Conjuring, on James Wan's.
Yeah. But hey, people. Sir Saito, Red, Alex F1.
Hello, everybody.
So, Sir Saito asked, in your opinion, there is a profession that is saturated, like, for example, character modeling or 3D animation? Saturated. If you mean that there's too many people competing, or do you mean that there's not enough, or music just got very
yeah, it got super epic all of a sudden. Let's just swap that out.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if your question has to do with if there's a lot of people out there, yeah, there's a lot of people out there getting into this stuff. But there's also, the industry's been growing like crazy.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I mean, just like seeing what happened with Unity yesterday.
Yeah, it's insane. The number, 1.6 billion.
Completely crazy. So $1.6 billion for just what is R&D team.
Yes, essentially. And I think all the plugins and stuff that came along with it and all the stuff they developed for it, but still, like, that's such a huge number.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's like 3,000 people at Weta. They basically hired a division that's 250 people.
Yeah.
So they really just grabbed the software, So Miguel made a funny comment on Facebook last night. So it's like 1.6 billion for plugins.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what?
But yeah, I mean, I think that with the money that's getting thrown around between Facebook and the metaverse and Amazon, Netflix launching a game division, which they announced last week. I mean, there's so much content that's in the works, and then whatever's gonna happen in the metaverse. So Saito, what I'm getting at is like the industry is growing very quickly. So it's grown ever since Gnomon opened. It just hasn't stopped. And when Gnomon opened, it was in response to like the dramatic growth of the 90s. Because the CG industry was growing like crazy from like the release of Jurassic Park and Myst until Gnomon opened in '97. So yeah, no, I think there's the main thing is like any profession, you have to be good. But analogy I like to give people is like there's certain such professions that are saturated where like even if you're good, it's hard to get a job. Our industry isn't at that point, right? Meaning that like if you're really good, you're gonna get a job. And so it is very much a meritocracy, which is as opposed to like the fine art scene or the NFT scene, which is very much like a more complicated game. So what did you think between my quick test render versus
between the two? I like this one. This one. Yeah. I like the part of the reason is I like the eyes in this one. The tiny little pinprick is with the glow is kind of creepy, and I definitely like that. And obviously the smoke and the texture on the skin and all that is cool too. But I think the biggest thing for me was straight away with just the eyes of the character. The other ones felt like it was almost like a portal that was like soul sucking you in, which if that was the goal was cool. But I like that this one is a little creepier.
This one is more like my typical try to make an illustration as opposed to the other one, which was just a test render that I thought looked kind of graphic.
It is definitely graphic and cool.
But yeah, it was fun to use Mixer to try and do skin. But it turns out, unfortunately, like there's just not. If you go in Bridge and do a search for skin, there's not a lot. Yeah. And the thing I discovered is, how like most things in Bridge are like 4K, 8K. If you do a search for leather, you'll find that. Here, I'll just open Bridge. Because I know you mentioned wanting to use.
Yeah, I was curious about it. Like I know I can do it and use it for hard surface stuff. Especially because they're like Crunch, I think, is the one that their robot.
Yeah. You definitely, no problem doing hard surface stuff because it's got so many metals and plastics and rust. And here I need to sign in. Here we go. So, so like if I do a search for leather. And Bridge, because obviously for skin, like you basically search for skin or search for leather. Let me just search for surfaces. So you see these, like how normally things are on a sphere, but then it's got all of these that just look like a piece of cloth.
Yeah, the cloth ones.
These are only 2K.
Really, all of those?
I don't know if like they're older, because it seems like they've standardized on the sphere preview. But yeah, I downloaded a couple of them and noticed like, they definitely don't seem like high res enough.
Right.
And so that was a bit of a surprise. It might not be all of them, but just the ones I downloaded were only 2K, even though I had the download settings set to 8K.
Right.
Yeah, so like I think this is probably one of the ones I used on the dude. And if I go, see in the lower right corner it says 2K resolution. And I don't know if you can see that. Let me.
There you go.
Yeah. So in the lower right corner, you'll see it says 2K.
Mm-hmm.
And if I click on it,
there's just not another option.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's odd.
So I bet you they were maybe older and added, because if I scroll to the top and go to like the studded leather one, this one you can see now it shows me that it's at 4K or 8K.
Yeah, so it seems like the spheres, maybe the newer versions or the updated or newer materials in general.
So for texturing skin, I mean, it was fine for this.
For what you made,
like what the texture looks like if in Maya. So it's just kind of like, I mean, he's lit so darkly, so that's why he ended up looking like he's darker than he actually is. But
Interesting.
But yeah, that's the. But I was looking at the Texture XYZ site yesterday. There's so much cool stuff there. But so there's definitely a lot of things that you could grab from there and then build materials out of and stick them into Bridge so you can load them into Mixer. Wow. So yeah, it's you can definitely do this kind of thing in Mixer, but it's just they need to add more skin options. There are some really gross skin options in Bridge, though.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's good, I guess. Is that what you used?
This is really just a leather that's tiled. I didn't spend a lot of time on it, and we just drew those little blood splats on it just to create a little highlight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and played with EmberGen, of course.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the EmberGen. So it looks like you did the flames, the smoke, and then the stuff out of the head as well. Was that just like what's your process for like getting it out and into your image? Are you just screen capping it? Are you rendering it? Like, what's the way you're doing it?
I rendered it. I did the candle first, because first I did, let's see if I open, I took a render and did like a look dev real quick, which I think is this one. Yeah, so in this one it's just comped, like the candles and the candle smoke and the flame. So this is just, if I go and hide some of this stuff, right? Yeah, so that's just a photo, because I have a photo library of intense smoke that I shot a few years ago. And then once I decided that I wanted to do that, then I did it in 3D using EmberGen. And so I took the candle, exported it as an FBX from Maya, and then if I launch EmberGen, so now we're in EmberGen. And it's cool, they changed the interface for the new version. It looks a lot nicer and cleaner. So yeah, this is your default thing that always opens. But in EmberGen, you can go, let me move the chat window. You can right click and just create like an import node. And then in the import node, you just specify the file path for an FBX. And then the new version, this one that just came out, finally supports animated geometry in cameras.
Ooh, okay.
So if you have like a rigged character or anything that's animated, you can get it in here, but I haven't tried that yet. So I imported the candle. So that's like the little candle that I have in the scene. It's right there, which is just a ZBrush sculpt that I did a while ago. And then did the candle smoke using one of the presets, because EmberGen comes with a whole bunch of presets, which is great. Yeah. Because some of the presets are really cool. So I just used like a incense smoke preset and then just played with it until it had the right height that I wanted for the render. And so the geometry is in here really just a scale reference. Like I didn't really use it as a collision object or an emitter. It's just there to help me gauge if the smoke was rising off the candle the right amount. And then on your little volume node that you have here, you then just connect the VDB output to an export node, and then you can export it either as a still VDB, like a single frame, or you can export it as a sequence. And then for the dude's head, you can see for this one, I imported the dude, set him as a collision object, and then put 2 emitters in his head. And so that's what's going on.
That's cool.
Here.
So is his head actually hollow?
It's not hollow,
or that
no.
part of it? Okay.
But I did sculpt, like if I go into ZBrush, you can see, it goes down a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, enough to put an emitter in there.
Yeah. And so if I go back here, so, I mean, ultimately, you see a lot more of it in EmberGen that ended up being in the render, so it's kind of cooler looking in here. But
sure.
But what's rad is that this didn't take long.
Right.
Just started with the preset that when you launch EmberGen, just like that generic preset, and then just duplicated it so that I had 2 emitters. So if I look inside the head, then you can see if I scoot this out, like there's that little emitter, which is really just a sphere that's emitting the smoke.
That's cool. That's super cool.
But yeah, it's so interactive. It's freaking crazy. So I guess technically now with the new version, I could have this guy animated and
moving
I
around.
assume parent emitters into a hierarchy and stuff like that.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Alex F1, thank you. Need to get into good GPU for renders. Yeah, they're super expensive still. It's so crazy that it's still going on, the whole shortage of GPUs. We've been waiting on computers for Gnomon for so long, and we just continue to get all these supply chain issues for why they haven't arrived yet.
Yeah.
Because we've got I think 20 computers that we've been waiting for Lab 6. And those are headless, meaning that's just workstations without GPUs.
Just the monitor.
We've got the GPUs from somewhere else. It's just the tower. And I think we're going for 3070s. We would have, or no, I think they're 3080s. We would have gone for, I can't remember, it's 3070s or 3080s. It's a pain. So Alex F1, the only way to get one quickly, which is really expensive, is what I did. I had no choice. I really needed to get one. Was A5000 because that's the Quadro line. But yeah, it sucks. It's so annoying how hard. We're setting up the new lounge, and then that's a more recent development. And I want to have 4 computers in there for PC gaming. I mean, students can use it for whatever they want, but PC gaming will be allowed in there. And so we have 4 Alienwares we can put in there, but I want to upgrade the GPUs on them because they have Titans, but Titan X's. Same problem. If I just want to go and get 4, 3080s to put in there, then it's got to go to eBay where people are selling them for
They're essentially scalping them. Yeah.
So annoying. But it's funny, I just realized that while the chat window is transparent, the text bubbles are not.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
So it's maybe there's a setting for that. I kind of need to still see
everything else. Well, maybe not. Here, I'll let you do that. I'm just starting to focus in on this. We got a question from YouTube. Shelly is asking, if you don't mind me asking, what inspired / motivated you guys to start working in 3D? Do you want to take that one first, or you want me to go first?
Oh, I found the slider. Message opacity.
There you go.
There we go.
Hey, that's better.
what motivated us to get into 3D?
Yeah.
For me, it was Myst, the video game.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I mean, it was beyond. No, before that was Beyond the Mind's Eye, which I've mentioned on stream before, which was some VHS tapes you could get in the early 90s, which had like early CG stuff on them. And if you look up Beyond the Mind's Eye on YouTube, you'll find some of those. And then Myst came out in '93, Jurassic Park came out in '93, and those two things got me super interested in it. And that's when I started doing all my research about 3D and trying to get a hold of programs. So that was like the initial thing for me. What about you?
For me, it was. I didn't really know it was a career. I was interested in it, but I didn't know that 3D was a thing, really. So I guess you could say, kind of fell into it. Meaning, like, I started going to school for game design and animation before Gnomon, and that was just kind of like one of the first real classes that you had in that degree was a 3ds Max class. So that was the 3D program that they taught. And so that one was the first thing that you're tasked to do, and like you are in a lot of intro classes, to start modeling and making some stuff. So I was, making cars and making some sets and environments and like understanding how to do that. And I think that just kind of clicked for me as far as like, this is a fun thing that I've always kind of liked to do. Like, I was always a person who was very hands-on and like to build things or, make games, design games, play games. And as soon as I had that first kind of 3D class, I was like, oh, I like this. This is a fun thing. And then I got into, after that, that's kind of when I started doing my own research as far as like, what is this really used for? Like, is it just to make stuff? Oh, okay, this is what everybody uses to make stuff in movies. So for me, it was just kind of getting my hands on with it and exploring 3D, just kind of getting hands on making stuff, and that excited me enough to push it further and see what else there was. So there wasn't like a big project or like a movie that really excited me or got me into it, like you're saying with Myst or Jurassic Park or I can't remember the thing that you said, the
Beyond the Mind's Eye.
Yeah.
But it's funny how, like, I don't know, Myst was such a landmark thing for so many people, and they've released so many remastered versions of it over the years, and it's always cracks me up to just, if you Google search Myst to see what it looked like, compared to the stuff of today. It just looks so rudimentary, yet at the time,
yeah, it does, yeah.
Same thing with like
too.
Quake and Doom and like just early 3D computer games like Wipeout on the PlayStation 1. Yeah, rudimentary but amazing at the time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those early games, and even earlier, in like the early 2000s, when like in late 90s when 3D really caught on and everybody was starting to use 3D, there's a lot of movies and stuff that didn't really hold up there either, but could still be landmarks, movies and films and stuff. So it's kind of interesting how that all evolves or changes over time.
But even though there's still a lot of movies from the 90s that hold up.
Oh yeah, there are.
Something I've been wanting to see for a long time, but I think it's finally available for streaming, but it wasn't for a long time, is The Abyss. I really want to watch that again.
Oh yeah, I have that on DVD. I haven't watched that one in a long time. I talk about it a lot in class, though, being kind of the follow-up to Terminator. Wasn't that the follow-up to Terminator, or one of the follow-up to Terminators that James Cameron did? It was right after that.
Right after Terminator 2?
No,
I can't remember if it was before or after True Lies.
Abyss is 89. Terminator was 84. Terminator 2 is 91.
Abyss is 89?
Yeah, because he was using the Abyss creature as basically a test ground.
Oh, yeah.
To do a fully CG digital character.
You're right. I still remember how trippy it was when they took the mouse and put it in like that pink fluid and it started breathing.
Yeah.
That was exciting.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I want to watch that one again. I haven't seen it in a long time, though.
Red, that Jurassic Park and video games got you interested in creature design. Yeah, no, for me,
Absolutely.
same. Yeah, video games, for sure. Because there's so much, there's so many more creatures and monsters in video games than there are in movies.
Yes.
Like a movie generally will have one, while a game could have 100.
Mm-hmm.
Shelley, since you guys entered the industry a while back, do you kind of see all the technological advancements in 3D relatively slowing down? Nah, no. I mean,
I don't think so.
I mean, just look at this program I'm using. It's like, like this is fairly new, EmberGen. Like it's really something that in the last year people have been talking about, and it's amazing. And the fact that I can just like play with these sliders and go over to the emitter and let's increase the fuel rate and then just have this, real-time simulation, or things going on with Unreal, things going on with, this is a competitive competition between all the software companies, all the stuff that's going on in the game space, all the stuff going on with streaming. So I think with all the money that's being made, a lot of that money gets invested in software development. So I think there felt like there was a lull from like 2005 to 2015 maybe, when Autodesk kind of like cornered the market.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of created a feeling of a lull in software development. But I think we're kind of back to seeing things being progressive.
I think the push for everybody wanting to do stuff real time is making a huge shift in everything. Because now it just things being real time is obviously cool to see it, but it makes it so much more artist and user friendly because you can just see it visually change. And even what you were just talking about there, like the fact that the terms is like fuel rate is a different term than like spawn rate or velocity. I don't know if EmberGen uses all those other terms, but that's a more artist friendly term than that somebody else who's never really been super technical can pick up.
So yeah, like Saito just said, like Houdini 19 Blender, Unreal 5, exactly, like Unreal 5, like that's a huge paradigm shift, Lumen and Nanite, and I have a feeling that when you see something happen for the first time, like Nanite, like unlimited polygon counts, that kind of proves it's possible, and so that means that we'll probably see something similar to Nanite in other tools, whether it's Unity or Maya or Blender or like other people now know, okay, well, if Unreal's doing it, we now need to figure out how to integrate that. Unity definitely kind of has to.
People will be forced. It's like when you can relate it to other times in history and other things. Like for me, one that I like to use is when Tony Hawk landed a 900. Yeah. It was like, oh shit, this is the first person to do a 900, and then like 2 years later, everybody's doing 900.
Yeah, because it's possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's hugely inspiring, regardless of the field. So so for sure. So I think we're actually in an exciting time. I mean, it's like I was so excited by learning the stuff when I was learning it, but it was so slow. So at the time, it didn't make it any less exciting. But man, today is just the interactivity. Just I think allows students to get better so much faster.
Yeah, for sure. The speed of that. I mean, the fact that you can see something evolve and get better so quickly just with real-time tools or GPU rendering or whatever you're choosing, you can just see it so much faster, and that makes it so much faster to iterate and make your changes, and it's just better for artists.
Because like what I'm doing now, like when they added fluids to Maya, like this would be playing back at like 1 frame every 5 seconds. So it'd be like frame, wait 5 seconds, frame. So then you have to do play blast, and it would take forever to work. So like to iterate and make it look the way it's supposed to look could take days. And now you just can play with sliders and get there so much faster. So yeah, it's awesome. Pyramid just asked about Unity buying Weta, which we talked about for a second. I'm not surprised, but I'm also surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the number, but I'm also not surprised at the number. I think for me, it's more. Unity had their IPO, right? They go public. They made a lot of money on that.
Yeah,
obviously. But now, I think all the publications and everything that's been happening with Unreal and virtual production kind of like stole the thunder of that a little bit. And I think people have been, I don't know if they've been sleeping, but I don't know if anybody really knows what, at least personally, I don't know what Unity's really been doing.
Yeah.
Like as far as if they're interested in getting in that.
Habib Zargarpur has been at Unity for a long time. He was a big VFX dupe at ILM, and he's still at Unity. And then Bay Rate, is at Unity. Bay was, in charge of like the facial rigging for Gollum at Weta for years. So Unity, going public gives them access to billions of dollars of capital or cash. And so I think without all the attention going on Epic ultimately is a private company, which, makes it's still a huge company, but it's still, compared to the market cap of Unity and the access to funds since they're public. Same thing with Facebook and Amazon and Adobe. Like these public companies have so much cash. Like look at Tesla. Tesla would never have the cash it has to be worth what it is if it was private.
Right.
And so I think Unity is just planting their flag by just, whether it's buying SpeedTree or Weta, it's like they're just like, all right, well, we're a player too. And now you can't deny it because Weta's technology, not to mention the 250 developers that now work for Unity, who are probably some of the industry's best developers of VFX technology. For them to be working for Unity now is a huge feather in the cap of Unity. Absolutely. It might take a few years to see how that impacts the user.
Yes.
But
I think it's huge for them, absolutely.
I just hope all those developers got some amazing bonus.
For that, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like do the math. 1.6 billion divided by 250 people. They deserve a healthy bonus.
Yeah. I agree.
Saito, I agree. Working with people is, side by side. It was a huge motivator for me to learn. It made learning a lot more fun to be in labs, hanging out with friends and learning how to do stuff and getting stuck and asking them for help or seeing somebody do something cool. And, I think it's a healthier environment.
Yeah, what you just said, like seeing somebody else do something cool, that's something that I think you can do now, obviously, with like ArtStation or Instagram. But I don't think it's not the same. It's not the same at all because if it's somebody who's like in a lab with you or at school with you, there's like this kind of sense of like almost camaraderie and less competition. And I think that's like where you could walk up to them and just be like, how'd you do that? Or that's really cool. Or that creates a very different dynamic.
Have you ever used the ZBrush matcaps? I just downloaded them a couple days ago.
Yeah, I use a lot of them actually.
They're awesome.
Those are what I use most of the time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, like these ones.
Oh, that's the ZBrush one?
This is one of them, yeah. This one is, I use this one a lot, which is just kind of like, I don't know what the right word is, but like a tannish sort of thing. There's a bunch of these that are kind of tan that I like to use.
Yeah, they seem similar aside from color?
Most of them are the same except for color,
Yeah.
Color and like the specular color.
Yeah,
they also take color pretty well, meaning like if you want to change the color of it. So if I give this like a little tint of green, the red ones maybe not so much, but if you have any of the other ones, you can kind of tint something a little bit, and then also switch your matcap. I
literally just did a Google search 3 days ago for like ZBrush matcaps just because I've been using the ones I had for so long, and just like, I bet you there's some good ones out there now that are awesome that I can use. And like a few minutes later, a bunch of people were recommending on Google searches these ZBrush ones. I guess because they're free.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones that I've used forever. I remember spending so much time in the Pixelogic like download center or whatever it was, where you could try them out. Just downloading hundreds of matcaps, experimenting with which ones looked good. Those were the ones that always did me the best. There's also a set that I use which are now named L. They were, I think, somebody named Lucky or something like that. But searching Lucky in ZBrush doesn't really get you anything anymore, so. But that was a long time ago. I use the Zebra ones the most.
That makes me feel good about what I stumbled on. Shelley, I feel like the pandemic really hindered a lot of my classmates' progress because we couldn't see each other's work in progress. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I know that a lot of our students use Discord, and Pyramid mentioned Discord as well, and that's obviously been awesome and super helpful for our students.
Yeah. Yeah, Discord's huge.
And yeah, Pyramid, I'm familiar with Clint's challenges that I just see, you know, when he has the winners and they post them on YouTube. It's amazing. The people out there, you get so many people to participate on those challenges. It's awesome. I feel like I need to make something new, but I don't know what.
New character or environment?
I don't know. I'm just going to look through my hard drive, because that's what I did last week. So, because like, if I go in here, where's the sketch? It's personal artwork, web, here. Because this is what I used last week, which is just like a little sketch. So I'm just going to look through my hard drive to see if I can find something else.
Something else to start from?
Yeah. Do a childhood drawing.
Do you have your childhood drawings?
I've got a folder on my hard drive that has a few.
Oh, okay.
1983.
Oh, wow. I love this. This has to be full screened.
I was 19, so I was 10.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I have like that little cast shadow that
I was going to say, was that a cast shadow? I think it is. Yeah.
Cast shadow.
Wow.
There you go. By Alexis.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that little.
Oh, look at these robots, though. Or this robot in like a supercomputer. Yes. Alex F1 says you already had a passion for environments.
I know, which is funny.
And robots and sci-fi.
Look at all those coming from
You
that
should
planet.
totally redo one of these in like a new, like 100% like better, obviously, but then an updated version. But like, I think you could definitely. I love also that you were drawing on graph paper.
Totally, I know.
That was a very specific time.
It's so 80s too, just like, you know, like the Soviets and the Americans, and you can see like it's an American base, I guess, on a planet. we're losing, and then you can see like all of the American
swarm of
ships
ships back there. Yeah. What is that? The Soviet in the top left? They have such a round, different shape language over there.
Yeah.
Jared Krashevsky's on YouTube. He says you should redo one.
I've seen online like people who like, you know, take kids' drawings and like render them super realistically, and they're super creepy looking.
Ooh. Did you have a name for this forearm person?
God.
You probably did
at the time. I probably did for sure. I have a sketch. I have a notebook, like a 3-ring binder full of like old drawings from probably like middle school that aren't scanned, and a lot of those have like superheroes, and they're all named, you know.
That you made.
Equinox. I remember I was really loved that word, so I picked a superhero named Equinox.
Yeah, somebody, Rex from Twitch says they're essentially all action scenes. It's true.
I scanned these forever ago, so I haven't looked at them in a while.
That's amazing. These are great.
Funny. I like these people's symbol is the yin yang symbol.
Yep, that was also
okay. So now fast forward, what's happened? Puberty's happened. I'm now almost definitely like 14.
That took such a harsh turn so quickly.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is what happens when you hit middle school.
Yeah, that's a lot more skulls. That's a lot more skulls, a lot more crosses, a lot more.
Yes. Look at this bad demon cutting down cross down there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But then lower right corner, we got a little hope.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a little hand coming out of the ground with a crucifix.
I like that. There you go.
Yeah, trying out like a new idea for my signature in the lower right corner.
Oh yeah, everybody goes through the time in their life where their signature becomes essentially an icon.
An A on top of an A inverted.
Yep.
Is that it?
I love that.
No, there's got to be more. There's more. Let's see. We're there. All right. Sorry, people, but we're just now going through this folder.
Yeah.
And the thing is that like a lot of these were totally done like at school in the library when I'm supposed to be like studying or doing homework, and I'm which is why it's all on, you know, typical college rule,
wide rule, or college rule.
And you can see in here, like, you know, the dreaded tear in the hole, getting dangerously close to this piece ripping out. Oh, we got that same symbol for the signature in the lower right corner.
Oh, okay. Is it still there?
There you can see it.
Oh, there it is. Yep. I love this.
Okay. When I zoom in and zoom out, it doesn't want to. There we go. Oh, signature's changed again. This one would be cool to redo. This one's kind of cool.
Where'd you go? I lost it here. Yeah, there you go.
The face feels a little bit like Pumpkinhead ripoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I must have been ripping off Pumpkinhead. I got to Google Pumpkinhead.
Just to look at it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because for those of you who haven't seen Pumpkinhead, it's pretty classic.
Yeah.
80s horror.
Is that the one that was directed by Stan Winston?
Maybe. Let's see.
Pumpkinhead. First one.
Dino De Laurentiis, directed by Stan Winston.
Hey, there we go.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was his when he wanted to get into it. Jared knows. Yep.
Red Rex. These are giving me Iron Maiden album cover vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I was a big fan of Iron Maiden covers, but not necessarily their music. I was never a big Iron Maiden person. So, I mean, I'm not. I'm fine with Iron Maiden. They just, I was always much more Sabbath and Floyd and sort of heavier, slower.
Mm-hmm. Iron Maiden's got a different vibe to it.
Yeah,
it's much faster.
But there's look at that whiteout. I don't know what mark I made on there, but I haven't had whiteout in a while. I obviously had it handy then.
You didn't like it, whatever you drew on there. It needed to be white-outed.
You can even see like writing from the other side of the piece of paper.
Oh yeah, I bet you could do some like weird, crazy investigation stuff to figure out what you wrote.
Cryptic runes.
I do like this music, like it's tying into like we're looking at some ancient lore. Okay, what is this? Is it riding in the Gazool?
I don't know what he's riding. It's different than the other ones and probably a little bit older since it feels a little bit more resolved.
Yeah.
So I put on the name 88, so that would mean I was 15.
Okay.
88, 89, 15, 16. Yeah, it's like I just drew all the time, and then I discovered 3D and stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So up until I was 20, I pretty much just drew all the time. There you go. My high school was called Harvard, so not the college, which is like a weird thing to call a high school when there's such a famous college. But Harvard School Science Fiction Club Mag 89. So the high school sci-fi club. I got to do the cover.
That's cool. I was not into school clubs at all. No. I was the opposite of school spirit, for sure. And rebelled against anything that had to do with championing my high school.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was into school spirit, being into the science fiction club.
That's fair. Jared, we were talking about Creepy Moon Boy. I still love that prompt. It's amazing. I'm very excited to see what your next monster will be. Your next prompt will be.
I am definitely looking to next week. We're forward to next week's Creature Corner. Last night was super entertaining.
Yeah, it was great. Looks like the first Magic the Gathering arts. Yeah, it's interesting when you look back at some of that stuff, or the D&D stuff, like the original D&D drawings, like the black and white pen ones. Things have gone a long ways.
Oh yeah, like drawings that were in the original like StarCraft and like Diablo box art, and then like the Ultima games from the 80s. They had really cool manuals, like the spell manuals, and with really, really cool art in them that compared to today's concept art is like pretty rough, but it's still super cool. Mm-hmm. Ultima 3, let's see, spell book. I wonder if I can find that on Google. Exodus Ultima 3. It's fine. Freaking anything. You know, it's awesome. Like I just did a Google search for Exodus. This is a game that was like pretty pivotal, like computer role-playing game. And this map that's right there, like this was a cloth map that was shipped with the game.
Ooh, I love that.
In the box. And it's pinned up in Griffin's room.
Nice. I love that. That's so cool.
I've had it for that long. It is a treasured, prized possession.
How big is it?
Not that big. Probably like 16 by 20, something like that.
Not bad though.
And then, but yeah, you can see like this is what like the manual looked like.
Yeah. That is exactly what That's exactly what I was thinking. I was looking at the D&D ones recently, and it was kind of the same. The very first ones are exactly like that. And the original Ninja Turtles always, that's like another one that had a big shift. They were always black and white, and then they shifted quite a bit. It's cool to see the first versions of things.
Man, so trippy looking at these. Man, when I was a kid, because I was playing Ultima 3 when I was probably like 10.
Okay.
10, 11, and I remember these drawings. I was just like, I thought they were ungodly cool and good.
Yes. Well, to a 10-year-old who, you know, if that's like the peak of things in like video games or things, and like you got this sweet cloth map.
Oh yeah. And then the cover, the box art, like this painting on the box art, so rad.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And then there you go. That's what the game looked like.
The inside is not as it appears on the outside always.
You know, I remember showing this to Griffin a long time ago. He was gold.
It's like,
actually, mine looked more like that because I played on an Apple II.
Okay.
So yeah, like Ultima 3 on an Apple II. There we go.
That's awesome.
When I finished the game, you could still keep playing. And just kill monsters. And obviously I was so maxed out my character, I could, kill stuff pretty quick.
Sure.
And whenever you killed, something, it would leave a gold chest behind, which you could choose not to open, and the gold chest would just stay on the map. I had almost the entire map filled with gold chests.
Well, that became the game at a certain point.
That became the game, was just fill the map with gold chests.
That's amazing. Like, well, this is what we're doing now, or what I'm doing.
All right, enough of that. So yeah, so I've got this dude that I did over the last week. What will I do now? Got the childhood options.
There's always that. It's a strong choice.
Here's another folder that's got some stuff that's more from when I was probably like 19.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's definitely a progression there. Is that Silver Surfer, or is that like some vert gold?
That's just a dude who's so scared his head blew off.
Cool. So be it.
Yeah. I know one day I need to scan my sketchbooks.
You should, yeah. I'd love to see that.
One day those will be gone. Looks like my ex. I definitely like the overlay of the chat. Keeps
That's
me
cool.
from having to remember to look at the other monitor.
Swing your head around all the time.
Yeah. BD Haynes. The image, I used a few programs. I used ZBrush to do the sculpt, and so I've got that up here. So this was made on the stream last week, or at least the head, and then I finished the body after the stream was over. So ZBrush for the sculpt, and then I textured it in Quixel Mixer. And says it looks like we're holding hands. Sorry about that. Mixer. Yeah, Quixel Mixer is free, and it's what I use to texture. And then brought it into Maya and rendered it with Redshift, and then I did the smoke with EmberGen. So I'm launching Mixer right now, so you can see what he looks like textured in Mixer. I'm procrastinating making something new by just talking about something I already made.
It's still interesting.
This is easier.
Yeah.
Still loading. All right, there you go. So, what are you doing? I haven't seen that pop up before in Mixer.
Well, that's an interesting one, yeah. Mr. Keyframes asks, thoughts on VR sculpting? I don't know.
Mixer
I've done it with Gravity Sketch.
That's right. You were playing with Gravity Sketch a couple years ago quite a bit.
I liked it a lot. I just couldn't find a good way to integrate it into my workflow.
Scott Robertson
might try
just did a
Medium at
Gravity
some point,
Sketch event or something. He's been sharing a lot of Gravity Sketch stuff.
That's cool.
But I don't know. I haven't tried the VR sculpting thing really. I played with Medium for a second. So thoughts are it looks awesome, and people like GeoNap Guild are doing amazing stuff with it. So
Yeah,
it's
basically.
clearly, I do think it's the future. I just haven't gotten into it.
I just want the headset to not sweat so much when I wear it for more than an hour.
Yeah, and that's this kind of stuff. I think the ergonomics of it are going to improve a lot.
Yeah.
But so yeah, you can see this guy's textured really, really simply. So if I just hide all this stuff. So I just started with a gray shader, put a normal map on it that just has a generic leather texture on it, and then just started adding colors based on different masks, like cavity masks, curvature masks, and that's it. So meaning I didn't spend very much time on it. That's the nice thing with Mixer, is that it can actually be pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And since he was lit kind of darkly, it kind of works in the render, because in the end, that's kind of more what matters, is that it works in the render. And then this is what he looks like in Maya. And so these are all photogrammetry trees that I scanned a couple years ago. And then these are some Megascan rocky walls that I actually have on a shelf in Maya, so I can import them all together in just one click and have a whole bunch of walls come in. And then Maya doesn't have the best way of visualizing VDBs. So this is the smoke I made in EmberGen for the candle smoke. And then the smoke that's coming out of the back of his head, which is actually two different VDBs on top of each other. And then I did a really simple rig on his head, just so I could pose the head a little bit in Maya. And then as far as lights go, you can see I've just got some couple area lights behind them, and then a front area and a side area. I put this tree here just to create some shadows casting onto the characters from that light. And that's basically the software that was used for this guy. So yeah, all the smoke is from EmberGen, and then just a typical Redshift render. Because I've been playing with Unreal for the last, month or whatever on stream, but I just kind of felt like using Redshift for a second just to deal with a normal renderer for a few days, which was kind of nice.
Change it up, go back to what you've used before.
Yeah, it's just, Unreal's amazing, but rendering with Unreal, there's so many gotchas. There's so many things that, you need to cheat, and it's just nice with Redshift that everything can just be accurate and brute force without having to go through hoops. So I think for illustration, for just making an image for fun, I think it's a lot faster with Maya and Redshift than Unreal for certain things.
I agree. Pyramid Scheme was asking a different kind of topic, but interesting one. What opportunities do you see for artists in the metaverse space?
I guess it's like Second Life on steroids.
Yeah.
Like Second Life. I mean, there was a period where a lot of people were making stuff and selling stuff for Second Life. And I think if you extrapolate your sci-fi brain into Ready Player One and what that means for the future, where there's an endless need for content, like that's what's already happening with streaming. Like there's this endless hunger for shows, and a lot of the shows have effects in them.
Yes.
Look at Arcane. Like Arcane is, I guess, #1 on Netflix right now. I just read.
Is it? It's beautiful.
It passed Squid Game, which is amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that opportunity. We don't know what the metaverse is. And I don't think you can even try to predict what it's going to be, other than thinking of the obvious things like Second Life and Ready Player One. But if you imagine a future, and I'm like extrapolating 100 years into the future now, where AI robots are able to do a large percentage of the jobs on the planet, like what are humans left to do other than do the one thing that makes humans different than every other species on the planet, which is creativity, making stuff, right? Like what makes us special isn't the ability to work at McDonald's, or the ability to fix a car, or the ability, so it's like those things are part of being human. But I think that the idea of being creative and people needing to be entertained, as people work less and you have some kind of basic universal income, then people will have even more time for the consumption of content. And there will be, therefore, more opportunities for artists to create the content than people are consuming. So I think the trajectory from here to 100 years from now just means that every year we're going to see the entertainment industry grow.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Arcane was awesome, Alex F1. I'm only on I finished episode 2, so I have to. It's so pretty.
Very. Yeah, it's incredibly beautiful. The style, every frame is beautiful.
Metaverse is on like Donkey Kong. Pixel Venture, I agree. It seems to be what's going on. Epic versus Facebook versus Amazon versus everybody, and they don't even know what it is.
Everybody has their own version of it.
I mean, Mark Zuckerberg's presentation about like them rebranding to Meta and what he envisions it to be was just so lame, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And just like, no, I don't think that's what the metaverse is going to be. I don't think what we're hungering for is being able to sit around a conference table.
No.
Or swipe to change our outfit so that we can wear a t-shirt and slacks.
Right.
So my faith isn't that Facebook is going to lead the charge, but I think that the money they're investing is going to do something positive, I hope.
Yeah, I would imagine it's at least creating competition or helping.
Holodecks for sure, Jared.
There you
That's
go.
where the shit's going.
A lot of people asking now about Weta and the Unity acquisition.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I think the headlines are you know, I think, and here everybody's probably clear that they didn't buy Weta Workshop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Weta Workshop, which is where they make all the physical props and makeup and swords and costumes, and you know, like Weta Workshop's a separate company from Weta Digital, so they did not acquire Weta Workshop. That still belongs, I assume, to Richard Taylor. And then Weta Digital, which is the visual effects studio we all think about, they didn't buy that either.
Right.
They just bought the R&D, all the soft
part
custom
of it.
tools.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's an agreement between Unity and Weta, since Weta Effects, which is what they rebranded it at, which is the VFX division. I'm sure there's an agreement where Weta Effects can continue to use the software that's being developed, because they're not going to, you know, kneecap themselves by selling their tech to Unity.
Yeah.
So it's just like this, you know, piece of Weta that got sold to Unity. So, but I'm sure any of the artists that are working at, I doubt any artist working at Weta knew this was in development or going on behind the scenes.
No.
So I'm curious what the vibe at Weta was like today.
Oh yeah, very curious, right? People are excited, people are terrified, I could see people being all kinds of things. But it's really fascinating. I'm excited for it, actually. The more that I kind of think about it, I'm like, you know, we've been talking so much about Unreal and the future of Unreal and LED walls and virtual sets and all that kind of stuff, and you know, Unity doing this shows that they're wanting to definitely stake a claim in that or something at some point.
You want to see something crazy?
Yeah.
Calculator. Okay.
1.6
billion. That's million.
Yeah.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's 250 developers in the dev team that got acquired. So let's divide that by 250. There's the bonus they should all get. Isn't that crazy?
It is insane.
Unity basically just paid $6.4 million per developer.
And the tools, but yeah, that they developed. But yeah.
Yeah, but still, I really hope those people.
This
track.
This track.
Whenever the slapping the bass track comes on,
like, we always have to stop immediately.
Slap it out of here.
No. Yeah, those. Yeah. Let's see. If they would all retire.
Exactly. They'd all retire, and then you'd lose your
exactly.
Dev team.
Yeah.
Especially
in
like
tomorrow.
You know, New Zealand, where you can live pretty well without having a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. They'd be gone.
Mr. Keyframes, I see the metaverse being more like Minority Report with AR overlays. I think AR is going to be a big part of it. I guess it's just going to be some hybrid between AR and VR.
Yeah. I don't know what it'll be. It'd be interesting.
I need to take a quick bio break. I will be right back.
All right. I think we're alone now. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Yeah, the whole thing with Unity is just so fascinating to me. I think it's such an interesting turn in like how this is all starting to kind of go. And like I was just saying, I'm super into the idea of what's kind of going on with it, though. I just think it's so crazy. Bye. Bio break. Somebody, when we were doing the Unreal Fellowship, that was like their #1 phrase whenever it was time for a break. It was time for a bio break. I think we've started to catch on to use that. Dragon's looking cool. Thank you. I'm slowly chipping away on this one. This is definitely one of those projects where I'm spending far more time on it than I think I would have on a normal project. But I'm kind of enjoying just picking away at something. So I'm cool with spending the time on it. Then I have my other project that's over on Archetype, which is the other show we started yesterday. Well, one of two shows we started yesterday. There he is.
Hello.
Dragons take forever, though. Thank you, Jared. They do take forever. Jared, why do they take forever for you? Why does that happen? Why do you say that? I'm very curious.
Yeah, I had to make a couple dragon-ish things back on Avatar, the Banshee and the
Banshees. There's a lot going on. Yeah, there's a lot of like anatomy you got to figure out. You got to figure out the scales and the colors and like the styles of all that. I remember working on Amazing Spider-Man. I worked on the lizard for a little while. And we just did passes and passes and passes of like what the types of scales were. Were they like a snake scale? Were they a lizard scale? Were they like a gecko scale? Were they all these different types of, were they more fishy? We did passes and passes, and then not just the types, but like the sizes of them. We did so many just to kind of get to the end result of what it looked like. It's kind of crazy. I know there was a lot of work on Godzilla too, trying to figure that out, like what Godzilla would look like. They also have so much detail. Like you have to kind of, like, even though it like looks okay from a distance, you get in closer and you're like, oh, that is not enough detail. Unless you really get in there. If I save this thing. Divide. 26 million, here we go. Is this going to go slow? Not too bad.
Isn't that a RAM thing?
It is. It should be fine. But I don't know if it's going to be fine while I'm also streaming and playing music and doing other things.
I haven't done that high ever without using HD geometry. How much RAM do you have in your computer?
64.
Okay. Yeah, my machine only has 32.
It's super. The undos are a little slow right now. But even this isn't even close. I still need so much more detail. And that's just because there's, frankly, it's because I ZRemeshed it and all of these areas down here have the same polygons. So I could probably just ZRemesh it again and then use the color thing. Have you ever used that to like try to put in more detail in an area?
What thing?
I'll try it now. I'll show you. So if you go, I'll switch to this mode so everybody can see. And save just in case. But if you, I'm going to actually just delete one of these levels, the highest one. As it goes up and takes forever. Delete higher. I don't need that. Okay, so if I got this thing, I'm going to duplicate it so I have it. Isolate it. Anyone know whose art is the thumbnail of the stream? I don't know what the thumbnail of the stream is. I can look really quickly. Oh, that's one of our students. That's probably in our best of term.
Where do you see the thumbnail of the stream?
It's right here. Oh, jeez. It just disappeared. I somehow snapped it into another window and it's gone forever.
Pyramid scheme. Is there anything more elusive than the answer to the age-old question of sort out my files or buy a new SSD? Obviously, buy a new SSD. Just get a bigger hard drive. I have a cabinet full of old hard drives that were just, too small. Get a bigger one, get a bigger one. Now the one I have, I think, is like 15 terabytes.
Wow.
Hopefully it lasts a while.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to ZRemesh thing, geometry. If you go to ZRemesher, there's this option called use polypaint. If you hold down Control on this thing, I think it is, or is it Alt? What's the button? You can read what it was. It should tell you what it's trying to do. My ZBrush is acting a little odd though. But basically I think you can use red and blue. And so I'll turn this on and just paint very quickly like a very saturated blue.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll switch to a red and I'll paint and I'll say like this is the area that I want to have more detail.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about.
Do this. So paint this.
Yeah, I don't think I've used that. I use the guide curves a lot.
That's cool. Yeah, those work well.
Those work really well.
So let's maybe this purplish area is this transition.
Do you have any control for how it decides if it's like 2:1, 3:1 as far as density?
I don't think so.
Is that color density slider?
Probably.
Color density slider sets the factor by which ZRemesher will adjust the density when using polypaint. Yeah, so it's that.
But that's like the amount of how many more it is in that area?
Yeah.
All right, so let's try it.
So if it's set to 2, it'll have 2 times as many. If it's set to 4, it'll have 4 times as many.
Let's see if I was right or wrong on the red or blue. I mean, I probably could have done it on a version of the mesh that's not 6 million polygons. Hang on. Could have gone even lower, but we'll leave it at this. It's going to take some time. But it'll eventually spit out something that has more detail, either in the blue or the red. I think it was red that had more. Yeah. So now the mesh, you can see, is less detailed here and more detailed here. So that is probably what I should have done to begin with.
Yeah.
And maybe I will undo that and use that. You said, oh, it actually automatically cranked it to 4 for me, which is interesting.
So even though I've used the ZRemesher for a while now, it still blows my mind every time I use it at how amazing
how good it
is.
Yeah, it's still super good.
Because, my God, the amount of time it would take to do this topology manually.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which I've done many times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, because it gets so, I mean, almost everything here is pretty much the way I would have done it if I did it manually.
Mm-hmm.
So it just required creating a bunch of guide curves. I think the area that, often it's, areas around eyes or a mouth, I'll need guide curves. Fun fact, Neville signed an animal anatomy for his book I bought at the normal store, and that's awesome.
That's cool. I don't know if I've used the ZBrush guide curves in a while.
Okay.
I assume you just draw on there, right?
Yeah, you just go to the ZRemesher guide brush and just draw curves wherever you want the edge flow to be. But I only had to use it in I think on this one I had to use it in 2 places. I had to use it this little line that's here on the trapezius. It wasn't topologizing it right, and I was getting an artifact.
Right.
And then this little nose, I needed to put like a ring around the nose because it was creating artifacts at the lower restive level at the base of this little nose nasal cavity. So I'll always try to not use it first and see what I get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like before ZRemesher, I mean, I actually enjoyed, Mr. Keyframes. Like loops can get confusing, totally, but it was like a puzzle that I used to, when you had no choice and you had to retopologize stuff, I kind of enjoyed it and would zone out, and it definitely was like a puzzle, like figuring out how to keep things quads and evenly spaced.
I never really minded it. I mean, it was annoying at times, like trying to solve that puzzle, but it wasn't like something where I was like, ugh, this is the worst, kind of thing. I never really upset me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let's project some of this. Oh, there's a hole there. What the hell? This is the thing you always have to kind of check with the ZRemesh, though, I've noticed. Do you ever get this where all of a sudden there's just like a hole?
That's weird. I've had it where it looks like it's a hole, but it's just a display bug, and you have to tumble and you realize it's a four-sided, it's a quad, but it's the way it's angled. But you actually got a hole.
It's like a legit hole in the back, yeah. Alright, well, let's try that again. These look like Inktober's.
Inktober sketches I'm just looking at just to see if any of these would be fun to make. Music just got a little aggro.
I know, this is another one that I wish you could like thumbs down.
Yeah, unfortunately, playlist. I guess you can like take a playlist and just copy it to your own playlist.
Yeah.
Which probably at some point would be a smart thing to do, just like make a custom playlist for the stream. But
Oh, this is a different one. I used Alt this time, holding down Alt. And it worked alright. I think that's supposed to be like a different algorithm.
Epic buys SideFX. Yeah, SideFX is definitely on the table, aren't they? Did they get it? I mean, have they ever been acquired?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think so. Yeah, Houdini adapted it from Prisms. Yeah, I think they're still just private. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have an investor, but yeah, because with that kind of money getting thrown around, it's like you could say that SideFX wouldn't be for sale if it was just like a normal price, but
right,
when Unity is willing to spend $1 billion, then it's like, does that mean that SideFX is worth $1 billion?
Yeah, it definitely feels like the comps almost feel like they have to be adjusted in a way when that type of a sale comes out. Nvidia's working on a metaverse thing. I think they'll be a big player. Yeah, there's so many companies that feel like they could be. Nvidia is definitely one of them, though. Any of those sticking out to you?
Yeah, it's just, since there's only 20 minutes left, it's like, what to do? This one would probably be fun to do.
Uh-huh.
So let's say that's one. This one too. But I have to play with SpeedTree.
Yeah.
Because those trees are super wavy.
Yeah.
And I don't have a tree on my shelf that's quite like those. See a SpeedTree. That's on here. Will it run? It is running.
Question. That's good. There we go. That's enough detail for a while. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a good sign. It's running.
Yeah. It looks like a tree.
So awesome. SpeedTree.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. I never really played with it too much, just kind of opened it up and looked at stuff, but
it's pretty straightforward. I haven't used it in a little while just because like 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, I just went through the SpeedTree library and grabbed all the trees that I thought could be useful for myself. And and exported them all with multiple variations of each one, and then set them up in Maya, the render with Redshift, to put them on my shelf, just so if I wanted to make scenes that had trees. So like I spent like a good like couple months playing with it a lot, and which is why like in Maya, just get rid of this scene. If I go to layout and go to my shelf, like I've got, you know, all these plants and trees, and so I've got all these trees from SpeedTree that like, but you know, I set this up a while ago to make my life easy. So I can just go and, you know, click on one of these, and then as opposed to just like the tree and SpeedTree, which would just have one, then I've got 5 variations, and then I made proxies for Redshift. So even though this looks kind of like whatever, I do a render, then these little proxy shapes will render as like the hero tree. So because trees can be really heavy, like it can be a million polys just for one tree, so you don't want that in viewport, because Maya viewport doesn't like more than like a couple million polys. It starts to get kind of slow. Why aren't you rendering? The thing with Redshift is that if you open an asset that you haven't rendered on this computer, then the first render is always slow, because it has to like convert all the textures into Redshift's format. But then from that point forward, those are cached on disk, and it'll render fast next time you render it.
That's cool.
So yeah, so like even though they look like simple little things on disk, we can see I've got, you know, some nice trees. Oh, it's off camera a little bit. So these are all from SpeedTree, but like I kind of already set them up. But for the scene, if I was to do this dude, that's kind of like a unusual tree. I don't know if I have anything that's similar. I've got them pine trees. I'll delete those. So if I grab one of these, Eastern pine. Yeah, but these have leaves. I need trees without leaves.
The proxy version of them is so different than what you're seeing.
Yeah, and the thing with Redshift is
trees.
I can click on any one of these proxies, and then if I go to the proxy, it's hard to see with the chat window. Where's the proxy node? There it is. I can go to the proxy and tell it to show me the mesh. And so now you can see in viewport, I can see the mesh. So which is cool. So like if I need to see the hero tree, I can still see it, but I can then just go back to the proxy low res mesh just for viewport performance. Because if I take like these trees that are like a million polys each potentially, or a few 100,000 polys, I'm going to instance them, you know, 10,000 times in the scene, and Maya would choke. So, but those trees do not look like that either. So these are just like tall wavy trees where the leaves don't start branching. Branches don't happen until like 20 feet up, and then they branch, and then they look like they split once, twice. Quixel venture, been into Houdini 19. Turns out there's a lot more closer to real-time workflows now with minimal OpenCL solver and Karma XPU. Still working with EmberGen. I think it has, each has its role in VFX pipeline. I haven't used Houdini. I'm just familiar with Maya and how it handles fluids, which are pretty slow. So EmberGen compared to Maya fluids is obviously night and day from a performance perspective. But Houdini, I've obviously seen people use it, whether it's for Gnomon workshop titles or just watching YouTube videos. And clearly it seems like there's some performance stuff in there that's pretty awesome compared to Maya anyway, for that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
BD Haynes, do you ever practice on speed modeling or composing an entire scene limited to 45 minutes like Beeple?
Not that speed.
Beeple's whole thing is about having a very well organized asset library, because he's not obviously modeling anything from scratch in 45 minutes. So whether it's Kitbash 3D or Big, Medium, Small, or Turbo Squid or whatever, like if you go and spend a bunch of time really organizing a large library so that really you're just doing scene assembly and layout and composition, then yeah, you can totally make an image in 45 minutes. But he's obviously been doing it for 15 years and has got it down. And, it's hit or miss. Sometimes his images are like, and sometimes they're amazing for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how little time he spends, but I've seen a couple interviews with him where he's just talking about how, he's just busy with so many things right now. He just made $30 million a couple days ago. Did you know that?
No, how?
There's another NFT.
Okay.
Well, he did an auction of something I think called Human One.
Okay.
Where he, I think it's a physical object as well as an NFT. Let's see, Beeple Human One. There we go. Yeah, $29 million.
Wow.
And remember, he made $68 million earlier in the year. So he's made almost $100 million this year. Jesus Christ. Crazy, huh?
That's insane, yeah. I saw everybody was at some thing in New York.
Yeah, so that's it. So I guess it's like a box with LED screens on each side of the box, maybe?
Interesting.
So
it's like the hologram one? I've been seeing some of those.
I don't know. It's a hologram. Anyway, he made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's got a large library, which makes it easier, which is kind of the thing, where, I think on earlier streams with ArchJam, I was using my shelves to try and make a scene real fast.
Mm-hmm.
But, I just kind of don't have a big enough of a library of stuff on my shelves for it to be, like, it's just going to get redundant. Beeple seems like he just buys everything.
Yeah. He's also been doing that type of a workflow for 15 years.
Yeah,
so you start,
sure.
I'm sure his library is huge and organized so that he can do it anywhere and everywhere as fast as possible. So I've done, speed sculpting, I guess, to answer the question, like speed sculpting lunch crunches, try to make a thing in a certain amount of time, and that's pretty fun. And it's a good way to practice speed, and it's a good way to practice being forced to make decisions so you don't sit around and noodle on something forever like I am now, but it's a good way to do that.
Let's see if I have a library. So sample broadleaf. I did a little bit of it when there was that Bob Ross Kitbash 3D Twitch thing that I did a talk with Bob Ross for like 3 years ago. Well, there's the Bob Ross stream. It's like Bob Ross Day on Twitch. And they asked me to use their kits to make some stuff.
Okay.
And I did that, like 3 years ago, I think. And so I made some things real quick using it. Let's see.
Yeah, Bob Ross just basically streams on their channel all weekend, every weekend, a whole season of Bob Ross.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I made for Kitbash. So that's probably an hour but I didn't make. But that's like their house, and then render people, and then just clicking my buttons on my shelves to import trees and rocks and VDBs.
Mm-hmm.
I have another one that I made. This is another one that's got their fairy like stuff in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one that I did. I spent a little bit more time on, which is this one. But this wasn't 45 minutes. This was probably like a day.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the upper right corner, that's like their Warzone kit. And then this little tower is from Kitbashed from one of their rooftop kits. And then everything else is stuff I made, except for the little dude where I made the head, but the body is render people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who just decided to advertise on CG channel. Which is cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I should probably be doing this kind of stuff on the stream. I just need to do it in Maya. Like I can't really do it in Unreal unless I spend a bunch of time like organizing like an Unreal project. I'd have to like make an Unreal project that already has a bunch of stuff loaded into it.
I was gonna say you've spent so much time organizing your Maya setup. Really, I think it's part of the issue is that you're moving to another render or another program. You're losing all that time.
Right. You know, because like if I go into Maya, I can go to like I made a little Kitbash shelf for when I did that stream. So like I can click on famous objects. I haven't used this shelf in a while though, so we'll see if it even wants to work.
Somebody was asking if we have a Discord. We do not have a public Discord, no. We're getting a lot of requests for it, though. So it's something we're thinking about.
Pixel Adventure, definitely going to have to look at acquiring SpeedTree. Does SpeedTree play well with Unreal? Yeah, there's an Unreal version of SpeedTree. So there's SpeedTree Cinema, there's SpeedTree Games, and there's SpeedTree Unreal. So SpeedTree Unreal, basically, it's kind of optimized to send things specifically to Unreal with wind and all that stuff. SpeedTree Cinema is more if you're in like a Maya, Houdini, Clarice pipeline where you can use like super high res trees, meaning like hundreds of thousands of polys per tree. And then SpeedTree Cinema allows for quads. SpeedTree Games, I think, is just polys, but that was a while ago. And then there's some features in SpeedTree Cinema that I guess are not in games, like working with photogrammetry data for like tree trunks and stuff. So here's a bunch of Kitbash stuff, but this is from like 3 years ago. I think that they've retextured a lot of their libraries because back then they were a little low res.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I've seen a couple of like YouTube videos with Beeple, and like just his library is so well organized, which looks awesome because it just looks super fun because you can see it's just playing with Legos.
Yeah, I imagine at a certain point it's like, which Lego pieces do I want to use today?
Have you seen like all the like motion graphics loops that he used to make?
No, actually, I don't know much of like his actual, I don't know if it's the right word, but like professional, like whatever his day job would be. Was?
He made all these VJ loops that were really, really cool. Because I think that's something that he was doing professionally for a long time, was like concert graphics. And then he made all these loops, like animated loops that are really, really cool, that are all like public or like Creative Commons, like anybody can use them for free. So a lot of people started using his clips as VJs and for shows and stuff. And he got a lot of attention for that, but they're really, really, really cool. But those are things that he said, obviously, he doesn't make in 45 minutes. Those take a while.
Right.
And then he has a couple shorts on Vimeo that are really, really, really cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've never looked it up. I'll have to check it out. Did you end up watching? I feel like you said you watched Midnight Mass. Did you watch Midnight Mass?
No, I watched The Haunting of Hill House.
The Haunting of Hill House. That's what it was. Jared was
which I
watching
like.
Midnight Mass. That's what it was.
Yeah, they talked about it for a second, I guess. Jared didn't really like Haunting of Hill House, but Matt did, I remember.
Yeah. Do you guys work in ACEs?
I don't.
No. Yeah, SpeedTree is owned by Unity 2 as well, yeah. For the cinematics environment you're working in, it will be great. It's good to know. It's awesome. They purchased SpeedTree somewhat recently, is that right?
Yes. It was like a couple months ago.
Yeah. All right, well, it is officially 6 o'clock now.
Really?
It is. All right.
All right.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. It was fun art jam. I like seeing all your old stuff.
My kid drawings. That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Well, cool.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. I'm going to put us in this mode, I think. There we are. Cool. Thanks for joining us. We have a bunch of cool events and streams coming up in the future. We actually have a really cool one tomorrow with Aaron Sims Creative. They'll be showing their short film that just got released a couple weeks ago. It was initially launched in Fortnite, and it was actually created in Unreal 5, so I'm really excited to see that one. So that'll be tomorrow night at 7:30. And then we also have some streams coming up next Tuesday, and then as well as Wednesday. So we have a lot of stuff coming up over the next couple weeks. So I'm pretty excited about all that stuff. So like or subscribe, whatever you're on, and that'll get you some notifications about, everything that's going to be on this channel. So, yeah, looking forward to all that stuff. And we'll see you all next week.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye, everybody.